The EAS is a primary entry point system, meaning a nationwide network of broadcast stations connected with federal government activation points to distribute national emergency and test messages. Many of the nation's largest broadcast radio stations are PEP stations. These stations are designed and selected to receive presidential alerts from FEMA and distribute to local stations. Primary entry point stations are equipped with additional and backup communications equipment and power generators to enable them to continue broadcasting information to the public during and after an emergency. New Mexico's PEP is KKOB AM. Who has the authority to activate the EAS? Ultimately, the President of the United States, but state authorities like the governor can activate the system, as well as local authorities in city, county, or tribal governments. The EAS is jointly coordinated by the FCC, FEMA, and the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration's National Weather Service. EAS regulations are governed by the Public Safety and Homeland Security Bureau of the FCC, but the FCC does not create or transmit EAS alerts. FEMA is responsible for any national level EAS activation, tests, and exercises. At the state level, the New Mexico Department of Homeland Security and Emergency Management coordinates EAS authorizations. EAS alert priorities begin with a national presidential message, followed by local area messages, then state level messages, and finally National Information Center messages, which are follow up messages after a national activation. To ensure reliability and consistency, all broadcast stations must monitor two other EAS sources, either radio or TV, that are specified in the state EAS plan. Stations are also required to monitor IPAWS. Participation in the state and local level EAS system is voluntary, that is, transmission of state and local level EAS messages. However, most stations choose to participate because of their commitment to operate in the public interest. All FCC licensed broadcast stations are required to be participating national stations, meaning they stay on the air with information in the event of a national emergency. KANW is a participating national station. Local primary sources coordinate the carriage of emergency messages for a broadcast area. In Albuquerque, the local primary 1 is KKOB AM, and the local primary 2 is KANW FM, which, as you know, has a wide ranging repeater and translator network. The EAS equipment in place at each station is one unit made up of a decoder and encoder. The decoder receives or decodes EAS messages and tests, and the encoder generates or encodes EAS messages and tests. The EAS equipment also contains a program interrupt connection, meaning the on air audio is looped through the EAS unit so it can interrupt programming when necessary during a test or activation.